So I don't have a chat to look, I guess. So I hope everybody's listening. And well, it's pretty straightforward. This talk. It's just in the last Collab summit, I talked about the state of Node.js security in 2022, and now it's 2023. How to do it in 2024. 2025, I'm still thinking. Okay. So the agenda is pretty, as I said, pretty straightforward. We will have a quick review of the security working group. Then we go to the security current initiatives, some parallel work, and I would like to use the rest of 15 minutes to discuss about the future of Node.js. I think I want to be able to listen most of the things or most of the discussions. So if you want to ping me on the chat after that, I will be probably looking to the record as well. Anyway, let's go. The security working group is contains a few active participants from the last session. Only Michael, Ulysses, and Thomas is from the past roster. So now we have Marco, Bradley, and Ashish. Bradley and Ashish, they are going to the meetings regularly. They are not officially a Node.js security working group member, but eventually they will be if they want to. So, and the current initiatives are the automation of update dependencies that Marco will talk about in details today, some moment, I hope. And then we will go to the assessment against best practices, some initiatives we are running. And then the automation of security release process, and then the permission model, okay? Well, first of all, thanks for everyone that joins to the meeting. It's very difficult to keep the community growing, but they are doing my job way better, way easy. So thank you. So let's talk about the automation update of dependencies. These initiatives is championed by Marco. So I think it's almost midnight for Marco, but if you are listening, Marco, thank you, Marco. Basically, we have a GitHub action that runs weekly that executes all the update scripts, and well, we have a long list of dependencies, and we need to automate that because eventually we receive updates and eventually we receive security updates, and it normally requires a volunteer work to update the dependency, and then we perform a release. Once we have everything automated, the proactiveness or the time to action will reduce a lot, and we will probably reduce the risks for any Node.js users in case of supply chain problems. Well, it's a very good work, very difficult work as well, time consuming, and I won't share a lot about it because this is the Marco job. He will do a talk about it in some moment. So the second one is assessment against best practices. Ulysses and Thomas are leading these initiatives, and basically one of the tools we are running is the OSSF Scorecard. So basically, scorecard checks for vulnerability affecting different paths of the software supply chain, including the source code, build, dependency, testing, project maintenance, and so on. So each automated task runs I score out of 10 with risk level. So basically, we have some sections, and we get a score for each one of these sections, and the checks collect together secure best practices and industry standards. So usually is 0-10 they score, the average, the total. So basically, we are running this initiative, and Ulysses created an action that we measure based in the difference from the past session, which is what is the Node.js score. Currently, we are actively monitoring 3 repositories: the Node.js main repo, the security working group, and Untitled. And on Node.js, we have 7.3 of score, which is pretty good. We are still evaluating what is the best score. I mean, it's 10, of course, but in some circumstances, we can't reach 10 for some particularities of the project. So we are still evaluating what is the score we need to graduate, let's say. So the security group is pretty great. And the Unity, we are only looking for it, but probably we'll start working on some fixes in the next session, next week, but it will happen, okay? So this report is available on the Security Working Group repository. If you want to check, it's available in the tools folder. So please do it. It's helpful. And also, I would like to say thanks to Ashish, because the step security contains a very easy way to fix most of the OSSF scorecard problems, and he joined the meeting and presented it to us. Well, and another good thing from the OSSF scorecard is that it's a very good way to grow our security contributors or new contributors. I have delivered a few talks in some countries, some place, and I've shared, okay, join security group, you love it. It's a good way to start on Node.js. So if there are someone, if there's someone in the event that never made a pull request to Node.js, I can say it again. Well, ping us, go to find a good working group for you, and probably you'll be able to perform your first pull request and become a Node.js contributor. So, well, from the OSSF scorecard, we got 2 or 3 new contributors just looking into the issue, and they willing to help. So it was a very good way to improve the scorecard and also the community. All right, so let's talk about the automation release process. Usually, I hope to find a good Samaritan to help me with this job, because I'm currently overwhelmed by tasks. So, but I really want to get this done. Let's talk about the problem of the security process. We have currently 26 steps to perform a security release, and normally we need a release steward and 1 releaser for each release line. Okay, so let's say if we have 4 active release lines, we usually need 4 releasers plus one release steward, so 5 people, and that's too many lost hours because it's time consuming. It's not complex, I would say. It's just time consuming, okay? And well, we need to automate it to improve our time to response to security actions, because let's say that we have one dependency, let's say OpenSSL. Today released a security patch with a critical vulnerability. We need to get a lot of people from the Collab Summit, and we need to perform a security release, because this is crucial for the project. And this is stressful and time consuming. And the idea is to have 2 buttons, one for security release, another one for regular release. And there are some steps to do that. The first one, there are 3 fronts, okay? The first one is we need to make Git node land works on Node.js private. We need also to support security release on the Git node release prepare. I have a pull request open on Node core utils. It's just missing the ability to hold a state, so you can do a -- abort. And the third is they automate the pull request proposal. So it will generate the change log plus notable changes. It should be very, very straightforward. So this is one front, okay? And the second, and the next front is the automation of most of, if not all, of the 26 steps. It will create issues, sending emails, requesting CVEs, and dealing with all the bureaucratic work that the release steward perform nowadays. And the other action, I mean, there are three tasks, and they should be done in parallel, okay? And the other one is automation for promote and sign release automatically. It will also create a Node.js org, blog post, publish on the social media. I don't know if that works. It's just I need to check with Kylie or everybody. And also send the message on Node.js release. Ping, I forgot the name, but ping someone, very important, I forget. And that's it from the automation of security release. So I hope to have someone helping me to help me on that work. We are discussing a lot of things, but yeah, that's great. The last one is the permission model. Well, I won't spend much time on this, just a quick recap. Let's imagine that you install a malicious package, fastfee, that reads from your etc passwd, and well, you know, every package can do it. And if you run it with the permission model, passing the right flags in the right moment, it will be, this access will be restricted. So that's a good win. We also have the runtime API. And well, so what's next? We have the permission model roadmap is the future for the permission model. We have landed it in Node.js 20 to collect feedbacks. Is expected to receive bugs, reports, because eventually when you create a security feature, any bug will be eventually a security vulnerability. And I was expecting for that. And it's good to receive a very good feedback from the community. We are still discussing the old initiatives is to create a permission model, and the next one is to keep maintaining and improving it. Okay, and we received tons of feedback. Some of them good, very good, like these ones that you were saying, seeing the screen, and some of them not so good. But it's good. It's very good to receive bad feedbacks. Not bad feedbacks, but you know, because we can see a different point of view and maybe adjust the model based in all the edge cases and the usability. So that's it. If you have any questions about the permission model, please share. Don't hesitate on opening reports, and that's it. And we have some parallel work. We have the policy integration on Windows plus single executable applications. Bradley was discussing it with Windows developers. They joined one of our sessions because they were willing for required policy flag on a single executable application. So Bradley created a pull request. It's under review, but it should be landed very soon. They are just discussing about the naming conventions and so on. And eventually the permission model will need to include that flag as well, like require permission or require something. So this is a good discussion. Bradley is doing it in parallel, I guess. And yeah, thank you, Bradley, for to do that. The other one is the SIGStore plus Salsa is a research that Batch is doing. And in this issue mentioned, there is a document explaining the findings, if we should use it or not on Node.js, how helpful, the complexity, also a good research from Beth. And that's it. I passed by 2 minutes, but I would like to discuss about the future of Node.js. I know that nobody, at least we won't have any idea in 15 minutes, but just keep in mind, what do you think Node.js should do next? What do you think Node.js is lacking in terms of security? I would love to discuss any kind of idea just not replacing anything to Rust, but just kidding. But that's it. Thank you, folks.
Hey, Harpo, I have a question already. Actually, two questions.
I think I won't be able to listen to anyone, right?
Can you actually hear me? Knock, 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 knock. Who's there?
It's very echo to me. I can't.
Can you hear me, actually, Rafael? Claudia here.
Yes, it's Claudia, right? Hello, Claudia.
Hello there. The first question that I have is also regarding the permission model. Permissions.json. Why a new file called permissions.json? Why not leverage package.json? I know that package.json is completely different, but it's already being used by many different libraries and etc. for configuring, JavaScript, Node.js applications and packages. So why not use package.json for defining the permissions that a package needs?
Yes, that's a good suggestion and discussion. It's in the roadmap to. We are still evaluating the best way to include permissions by a file. We are evaluating if we should use the policy.json that is a current file, and we just can merge both, or some suggestions to the package.json, but that's tricky. Bradley mentioned in the issue, and that's very tricky, and I think that will be difficult. But yes, this is in the roadmap. We are still evaluating the best approach to include permissions through a file. And one of the other ideas that we will take in consideration is how we will adopt it in the community, like how packages can send which permissions they need to perform anything they want. So it should be placed in the package.json of each package. I don't know, probably not, but we will discuss it. Yeah.
Gotcha. My second question is regarding the controversy screenshot that you shared about permission model. So if you want, of course, just want you to elaborate. So I bet that you folks, when you were initially, figuring out about the permission model, were, thinking, about how would this actually be usable for the end user or for the enterprises that use Node.js. So is that concern actually real? Will actual developers just locally just allow all and not care? Or what are the benefits for the cloud? Where do you see the permission model actually being used?
Well, that's a good question, and it was also mentioned when I showed the bad feedback. It's not really bad. They look reasonable at least. When you are running Node.js in a cloud, usually you can make use of other system level permissions to restrict access. If you are, for instance, on AWS, you can use EAM to restrict access. So probably the permission model won't be so useful. The target is when you look to the Node.js report, the HackerOne list, if you look to all the secret release, most of the vulnerabilities that we receive, the target is often the developer, not the end machine. So initially, the permission model, the target is to developers, not for production use. I mean, you can use it in production once it gets out of experimental, but there are other tools that replace that field. And probably you might want to use EAM instead of permission model. But if you are running, for instance, VPS on DigitalOcean, and you don't want to configure the operation system for, I don't know, to do anything, you can use the permission model, yeah.
Gotcha. So TLDR, it's useful for protecting, end users and developers from malicious code, right?
Yes, correct.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I was just going to. Is it on? Yeah, I was just going to add on. Like, that question's been asked from the very beginning, and I think what we decided is it's useful to have something that people can experiment with. Okay, yeah. So basically, we've had that discussion from the very beginning. Some people are like, you'll never lock it down and therefore it's not useful. Other people are like, hey, it's actually useful for us. And I think one of the things is it'll be good to see how people experiment and actually end up using it. Because like some of the other features, like the single executable applications, people are coming up with new uses that we didn't even think of beforehand. So that just is a good example of just having it being something they can experiment with. Maybe we'll figure out where it really does help.
So I think it was not mentioned, or maybe I missed it because I was distracted. Sorry. There is one of the discussions around this is the combination of the permission system with install scripts. Okay, and now that this is becoming available to in Node. Starting exploring something on what could be a possible integration with the package managers to provide fully, essentially a way to have safe scripts, okay, that are written in Node, that are constrained and protected. And I think that will be pretty good from a security standpoint versus against attacks to developers and maintainers. So I think that would be something that it's there, okay? Because before it was way too early to have those kind of discussions. It would be cool to see how this feature could be integrated downstream to the rest of in the rest of the ecosystem. Okay, so it's I don't know. It wasn't. I don't think it was mentioned. So I just wanted to bring it on because this is probably the right venue and to talk about this kind of interactions and hosting consumers.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just to complement, I know we have some folks from NPM here. It would be interesting to have could we just lock down the right permission to only the project folder, and have that baked into the package manager?
But the part of the challenge with that is that right now you have, okay, sorry. There is part of that problem is the fact that you're running bash commands, okay? So if people want to lock it down and have a fully locked down during install and stuff, they will need to express their scripts using JavaScript, essentially. This is part of the challenge and things. But yeah, that I think if we can get to that point, that would be I think the end goal. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I just bring it up because I heard before that there's not that much difference between the post-install scripts or just running the code during runtime, right? But if we start circling having good permission with the permission model, right? And that's only available on runtime, that puts post-install scripts behind and definitely more dangerous than in comparison, right? Let me bring it here to Darcy. I think he has something to add.
10 minutes. So yeah, based on what you were saying, Matteo, you're saying that we should be getting rid of post-install script, right? Or
the fundamental the threat attack of post-install script is as dangerous as it can get.
Yep.
And it's the only sane way to do that, to run those, is more or less ask the users if they want to run them, okay, and if they trust.
Yeah,
that script.
Do you trust the package as well? Because there's not that much of a difference once you're going to install a script when it becomes a part of your project.
Yeah, no, I agree. But when this becomes stable and it will be something that we could rely on, then yeah, if runtime becomes safe, then we could fix the post-install scripts.
Yeah. And the concern really is being any kind of like network requests or mutability with the installation process.
It's mostly right now, I think it's file system related.
Yeah.
I would say it's not like, I think it's, Rafael, can you confirm? Are you still there? Maybe.
I am, but it's very hard to listen. I mean, I can't hear a lot of things because of the echo.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, I think only is focusing on the file system.
Right.
But again, just tying up on the file system on read and write, it's quite a lot.
Yeah. But if you were able also to, I guess, yeah, it's also network access, right? Like that's also a part of this, or is it not?
I don't think, Rafael is not doing network access right now, right?
Currently, the network is not supported, but it will be supported eventually.
Okay. Yeah. I have lots of thoughts on post-install scripts specifically, but yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm aware.
Yeah. Yeah, like packages should be fully built. Like they should be fully consumable artifacts without mutability baked into the installation process. I might be speaking from like a very like idealistic point of view, but we need distributions.
And so that NPM should start shipping both a source and
Or
a
someone
binary.
else.
Look,
Yeah.
it's. I've been saying this for 10 years, so I'm not.
I think it's about time for somebody else.
it's,
By the way, I don't work there anymore. So.
yeah. So I.
So I think you said something about asking the user, right? And so I actually think we have a pretty good example of how that doesn't actually work. VS Code recently started asking the user if they trust. And I have talked to a ton of people, and nobody has any clue what it does, and they just say yes. Right. And so I think while that might be the only thing we can do, I think that it doesn't actually meaningfully solve a lot of the problems that that are like the real world attack vectors. So I love that we're working on these things, but I think we really need to be thinking about the end user experience and what people are going to actually do with these. And the answer is like lots of times they're just going to say yes to anything because they have no clue what the underlying thing is doing, right? Yeah, like who reads terms of service? You want to talk about this?
I like it.
That's all I was going to add.
Yeah.
Well, the thing, I was also one of the victims of VS Code. I mean, asking anything I open at if I trust that source code and so forth. So I see your point. But the thing is that we have to balance between developer experience and security. I mean, probably most security where people will say no to everything, while, I mean, clueless people will just say yes to everything. But at least we have, I'm not saying that wow. I'm not saying that we have to give up responsibility on us, but we have to give them choice. And I also think that as of now, automatic post-install scripts are very dangerous. I would actually completely remove them and say, eventually just allow them to leave a message and say, please run this thing after installing. So it's your responsibility, at least. That's my take.
Yeah, okay. Rafael, is there another topic you want to bring down for just this session?
Actually, no. The idea is basically show to everyone what we are working on, and if you have any insight, like I really don't agree on permission model, please join the session and tell it to me, and I will kick you from the room.
That's great.
I mean, no, seriously. We are still evaluating best approach to adopt permission model in the entire ecosystem, because just having it on Node, I don't think that's enough. We need to provide support it for our package managers, because most of the problems is in the installation of a package. As most of you know, if you have a post installing script, and you install fastify instead of fastify, you know what will happen. So that's the idea. We want to have discussion with package managers, with people with that expertise. Hope to see you, Rui, in the session. Okay, I don't forget.
Oh yeah.
And that's it. Yeah, I don't have anything else to discuss. And thank you, folks. I hope to
Awesome.
have everything clear.
Yeah, thank you, Rafael. So now, just before we break here, I'd like to call Robin to also have some word about the work on the OpenJS security. Yeah, and Joe. Okay.
Hey, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Sovereign Tech Fund. We're going to summarize this in a deck that you all will do for a lot of our projects. We'll start doing that in the next week or two. But just to give you all some context, you know, there's been more government mandates around security. We're still seeing some security initiatives underway, like in Europe with the Cyber Resilience Act, which we have signed on with the LF with some changes. But there hasn't been a lot of government support for open source. You know, we talk about open source is everywhere. It's the digital infrastructure. And of course, JavaScript is everywhere. So this was like a big initiative that really Joe and I undertook. We started speaking with them, last November, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And there was a pilot. We didn't get in the pilot, but we kept at it. And then we just sort of went to work a lot with the security collab space, Darcy, Matt Rakowski from IBM,
Jordan.
yeah. Others. And it was big, like a 20-page proposal. And so if there's something big you want to do, let's do it together is sort of the message.
Yeah, and I really wonder too, a lot of the work that the security working group at Node.js is doing, like what sort of things we can take from there as well. But yeah, we're really excited about this Sovereign Tech Fund. Like I said before, it's over $900,000. It's the first time a government has allocated that sort of money or any money to open source.
There's been little DARPA grants to, you know, some LF projects, but small. So this is even the second largest commercial grant to a project. So.
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned the Sovereign Tech Fund is a part of the German government, or at least
part of the German government. Hopefully it'll inspire others. It was your personal lobbying, Claudio, that did it. It's essentially two parts. One is infrastructure, modernizing the infrastructure, and the second is security. The simplest way to talk about it is really, we're working with the Linux Foundation IT department to create sort of a single scalable build, test, deploy framework, as it will, for our projects, anyone who wants to participate in that. And then there's the security piece you want to talk about.
Yeah, we're trying to build out something of a roadmap or a buffet table or something like of all the different security concerns that you may be, that you'll want to consider for your JavaScript project or platform or whatever the case may be. We're trying to think about the different, end users of something like this. And so whether it's kind of basic stuff and GitHub security policies or more deeper things like, SigStore and Salsa and SBOMs and whatnot. So we're trying to figure out, essentially like the OpenSSF is putting out a lot of material, and we're trying to take some of that and build like a JavaScript profile of those sorts of recommendations. So that's another part that we're working on.
We also have funding to create a training program, and we're talking to a number of people, and we're going to have that conversation again in Collab space. What should it be? Should it be security? Should it be how to securely develop a JavaScript app full stack? Should it be for maintainers? Should it be for end users? So we're going to figure that out, but we do want to execute pretty quickly. We're talking to a number of people who can help us figure that out, as well as we have budget for a vendor to build that out. We also have budget for an audits. So we can do probably either 2 large project audits or perhaps 4, maybe 5 smaller project audits. So we'll be reaching out to all of our projects to see about that, see who's interested.
So it's exciting stuff. We meet every other Tuesday. Happy to have more folks involved, that we're really kind of ramping this up. So, yeah.
One other little piece. we're going to sunset some projects who have reached the end of their life cycle. They may have been abandoned or orphaned or on their last, hurrah. And so we're going to help those maintainers kind of responsibly shut those down, update READMEs, park the code, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Okay. So any questions? Join us. We alternate our security collab space with the standards working group, so same time, and that's how we alternate every other week. Okay.
Cool. Any questions or anything, Darcy?
Thank you.
It's pretty exciting. This Sovereign Tech Fund thing is really a
Yeah.
really big deal.
And what's really cool is Fiona, who's one of the founders, is now joining our board through their contributions. So she's one of our latest board members. So we're pretty excited about that. Yep.
Cool.
Super cool. Yep.
Can you tell more details about how people can join those working sessions? Like where they can even know how?
Yeah, sure. So like Raman was saying, we meet at 1 p.m. Eastern time every other Tuesday. We alternate with the standards working group. This is on the OpenJSF calendar, which is calendar.openjsf.org, which will, take you to the Google Calendar. You can add it to your calendar and whatnot. The meeting link is in that calendar invite, but we do have a security collab space repo in GitHub. I think we have the tooling in place now that a meeting agenda is being built every other week. And so, now that this Sovereign Tech Fund thing happened fairly recently, so I think we'll really start getting that ball rolling and would love to have more people get involved.
One more quick thing. We're hiring. We have really essentially, we're hiring a security engineering champion who will help on all of that, what you're talking about, the roadmap work. And Ben is, there you are. Is that up on the career site, I think? Up on the career site, so take a look. Thank you for the Collab space. They helped us draft the job description. Again, team effort all the way. And then we have 2 full-time people working at LFIT, a release engineer and a DevSecOps engineer to help.
Yeah, and again, this gets back to Darcy's original question earlier about like the mission and stuff. The goal of this is really to help the whole ecosystem. We may use some projects to help guide us, but really this is for everyone. Cool, thanks.
Yep.